not a sports guy. I know, shocking when you look at my physique, but I'm not a sports guy. But I appreciate sports. I appreciate the idea of physical achievement, of making yourself better, of working hard for a goal, and against all odds, the thing happens. I'm a fan of teamwork. I'm a fan of everybody getting together and rooting for something. I'm a fan of local spirit. I'm a fan of anything. I like listening to John Madden talk, any of it. I like all of it. Not a sports guy, but I get it. But I also get that not everybody does sports because of that. There are some people that watch sports, not all of them, not even most of them, just some, not picking on sports, let's be clear. But there are some people that watch it because they like watching somebody lose. You know what I mean? I feel like a loser in my life, and so I want to see that because I feel better. There's a catharsis that happens there when I watch somebody else lose. But you see, that's a small version of God, and our problems are way too big for that small of an idea. We got to grow. I love that moment at the end of any sporting event when they do the interview with, the quarterback of the baseball team or whatever. And he says something like, and you know what he's going to say right before I'm going to Disneyland. He says something about, I just want to thank God for having our team win. Now, sidebar. I'm in the thanking God business. I like it when people thank God. I want you to thank God for a good parking space, a good hair day. I want you to thank God for every single moment of it. Yes, absolutely. If there's only one presence and one power, that's where it comes from. And when you know it, life gets better, the world gets better. Yes. However, I want to thank God for making my team win. First of all, it's a little like thanking gravity. God's always happening. But also, what are the implications for the other team? Is that person really saying, I want to thank God for not liking those guys as much as me? God's not wild about anywhere other than Boston. Now, I've been to Boston. I refuse to believe that's the deal. Like I said, we need to have a bigger idea. It used to be that people thought that getting right with God, with being a church person, with being a prayer person, a Bible person, or whatever kind of person, getting right with God gave you some kind of competitive edge over your enemies. There are people who used to think that, as recently as right now. You know what I mean? But if I pray with the idea of duality, I'm going to get more duality. I can't say it enough. In the non-spiritual world, there are people who really think that having a grudge makes you tough somehow. I'll forgive, but I won't forget. That you didn't really forgive? Sorry. The idea of I'm not letting that person off the hook for that thing. And somehow that statement is somehow that makes me tough. You are expressing a moment of they did this thing that's between them and God, and it was hurtful and toxic, okay, fine, but they're gone now. They're off doing some other dumb thing. It has nothing to do with you. Exactly right. They're doing something else. It's not about you. What they did is between them and God. How you respond to it is between you and God. If you decide, you know what, I'm going to orbit this grudge forever, even though they're off doing something else, who's strong and who's weak? A grudge is an expression of profound weakness. Let it go. I promise you'll feel better. Let it go. I've got somebody in my life who, you have those people where your orbits just kind of coincide for a little while. It's like Halley's Comet. They come by every few years and you just sort of intermesh for a while and then they rocket off to do something else destructive somewhere else in the universe. And this is a person who, all kidding aside, I profoundly love. But it seems like when they're in my world, it's because there's some kind of drama, some kind of a problem. And so over the years, I've had a spectrum of reactions between taking it on myself and really doing good at the codependent thing, between trying to fix them and giving them books to read, praying about it, thinking about it, fighting with them, calling the authorities, all of it. And strangely enough, I'm not that person's savior. What do you know? Strangely enough, I haven't fixed that person. Now, I'm a little bit smarter now. In every revolution, I get a little bit better at going, you know what, that's between you and God. I'm just here to love, and I'm going to love you in the best way I know how. Sometimes that's tough love. Sometimes that's insisting on a certain amount of accountability, whatever it is. I've gotten a little bit better about it. But anyway, the last little bit, this person's orbit and mine came into mesh again. And man, oh man, what a whopper of a set of issues this person has brought into my world. And so it's easy to go back to the old ways and go, oh, you know what? Here's the things you can do. And I can go back in my life and make a case for all of the ways that you have screwed up. And you know what? If you'd listened to me in the first place, well, they're not asking for that. And in zero ways would that be helpful anyway. But it's really easy to get into that place of, if you just listen to me. A couple weeks ago, I had coffee with a friend of mine, and we were doing our thing and having coffee, and then I left, and I was walking back to my Jeep. You can tell Jeep owners because they don't call it a car. It's my Jeep. Anyway. Sorry. Not sorry. But I was walking back to the Jeep, and I got done thinking about what a nice moment to have coffee, and I started thinking about this person. And my statement to the universe is, what am I going to do about this? Because I don't want to think about it anymore, and I'm mad, and I have some hurt that I'm getting done with, and mostly I just want to help them, but I can't fix them, and I don't know what to do about it, and I'm thinking about all the things they should do if they were smart. And I wasn't paying attention to my heart. I was way up in my head about it. But that feeling feels really gross. And I started to feel gross, you know? And I walked and I got to the Jeep, and I got in it, and I was thinking, okay, God, what? What am I supposed to do, how to fix this person? I didn't say it exactly that way, but thinking back, that's really what I said, you know? That's how I felt. And I put the key in, and I turned it, and there was that sickening click in the silence of a car that will not respond to your best wishes. Now, I take care of the Jeep. I take care of it. That battery is 6 months old. Never had a problem with it. But like I said, I've gotten a little bit smarter. And I said, okay, God, I get it. I'm giving my power away, huh? I'm going to stop doing that now. Started right up. That's how God talks to us. It's not always burning shrubbery. It's not always a booming voice in the distance. Usually it's just a moment where you go, okay, what? And you listen. You can give your power away all you want, or you can just love in the best way you know how and keep moving. That's all. Because what you put into this is what you get out of it. Now you know that. Jesus didn't tell us to go and make peace before we came into the temple because he wanted us to be all Sunday morning pretty. He was giving us a very powerful spiritual concept, and here it is. Whatever you take into the temple is magnified in your life. Whatever you take into that holy place, not just a physical building, but to that holy place in your heart where you know who you are and you know who God is. Whatever you take into the temple, you're going to get more of. If you pray a prayer of adversity, you're going to get more adversity. If you pray about vanquishing your enemies, you're going to get more enemies. If you pray about dealing with dysfunction, you're going to get more dysfunction. But if you pray a prayer of peace and love, guess what? At the end of the day, whatever you're praying about, prosperity, happiness, health, whatever it is, what you're really praying about is oneness. I want to be one with the source of life. I want a healing. I want to be one with the source of prosperity. I'd like to pay my bills. I want to be one with something. That's what we're always praying about, is oneness, unity. Well, you can't get there with a prayer of duality. Doesn't work that way. Forgiveness is the beginning of the path of love. That's how this works. That's the beginning of your journey.